White Raven Publishing presents a DC Share publication, Tales of the Apocalypse. Story 1, Trouble in the Big Empty, Part 2. Eventually, they could see the gated walls of the trade center up ahead, and Roderick was deeply upset by what he saw. Along the walls walked terrifying men, wielding sniper rifles and machine guns, and wearing body parts around their necks like jewelry. In front of the gate, people chained together and wearing slave collars were being corralled inside. Full corpses were strung up like decorations all around the perimeter. "What the hell is this?" "Oh, I forgot. You're from the north." "Well, this is just the way things are down here in the Big Empty. These men are called the Tandarians, and they aim to do this to every trade center and village in the whole region." "Those sick bastards!" Roderick and Cher approached the gate, but were quickly halted by the guards. "What is your business here?" "Just looking to do some trading, sir." "Okay. Leave any weapons you may have here with me. Try anything funny inside the gates, and you will be killed immediately." Roderick handed over his rifle, and Cher her pistol, and they were both thoroughly examined before being allowed inside. "What's wrong with her?" "Just a broken leg, hoping to get some medical supplies inside." "You may enter, but remember, no funny business." The enormous gates swung open, presenting a compound bustling with activity. The ground was all dirt and gravel, and the wall consisted of large wooden fences braced against the ground with thick beams. Guards walked along the makeshift walkways at the top of the fences, their weapons ready for any sign of trouble. The shops themselves consisted of shacks and huts, with wooden signs displaying what they each had to trade. Roderick and Cher first went quickly to a giant medic shop they saw towards the center of the compound. "Ooh, she doesn't look too good," said the man behind the counter. Even he was wearing a slave collar, but was still in a disconcertingly cheerful mood. Roderick was picking up bad vibes from every aspect of this place. "Yes, her leg is broken. We were hoping you could give us some crutches, and maybe some pain pills, if you have it." "Oh yes, that stuff doesn't come cheap though, I'm afraid. What do you have for me?" "Urser steak, freshly killed and a lot of it." "Okay. I can give you this pair of good quality crutches and one bottle of pills for, say, 20 pounds of steak. Although you really should let me put a proper cast on her as well." "Okay. How much would that cost me?" 50 pounds of steak and you get it all." Roderick reached into his bag and removed 10 of the enormous hunks of meat, slamming them onto the counter. "Take good care of her, okay?" While waiting for Cher to be finished, Roderick decided to go and see if he could find anyone selling a sleeping bag. Those cave floors were really starting to become rough. Roderick found a stand claiming to be General Goods, and he was happy to see it run by a pretty young lady, though the slave collars on everyone were really throwing him off, not to mention all the guards along the wall that had been eyeing him since he first walked in. "Well, hello! Aren't you just a big, strong man?" said the lady. "Oh, yes. Thank you. Can I help you with anything?" "Yes, I was hoping to find a sleeping bag." "Sure, hun. What do you got for me?" "Urser steak, freshly killed and cooked." "You took down an Urser? Oh my, you really are a big, strong man, aren't you?" Yeah." Roderick was starting to feel really uncomfortable. "Well, I'll take one of those steaks for a sleeping bag." "Okay. Well, I have 10 left here. How much water can I get with the other 9? Roderick looked up, waiting for the woman's response, but she was suddenly frozen solid, staring at something behind him. Roderick turned around and saw Cher, her leg in a proper cast, and her leaning on a pair of brand new crutches. Her face was also frozen in place. Well, started the shopkeeper. 20 bottles. Okay, then. Okay, bye." The shopkeeper quickly placed 1 sleeping bag and 20 bottles of water on the counter and took the steaks, then walked off. Not wanting to cause a scene in here, Roderick decided it was best to ignore this for now and ask about it when they were away from this place. He put the sleeping bag, the water, and the rest of Cher's pills in his bag, and the two of them walked back towards the exit. They recollected their weapons without incident and continued on their journey. Roderick was beyond relieved to not have to carry Cher anymore, or all of those steaks. So what was that all about in there?" asked Roderick. "That was one of the girls I was kidnapped with. The man that took us must have sold her to those people. Sick bastards." "What? Why didn't you say anything?" "Because you would have tried to do something, and you would have gotten us all killed." "What the hell is this place? People kidnap and sell people into slavery, and everyone's just fine with it?" "Well, yes, Roderick, that's just how it's always been here." "Well, that's not how they do things where I'm from, I can tell you that much." "That must be nice." "Look, can we just hurry up and get you home? I have to get out of this place." The two of them continued on their way, at a greatly improved pace. They walked for several hours without attracting attention, when suddenly Roderick noticed a commotion up ahead. 3 men and an ox-pulled wagon stood stationary in the road. Cher and Roderick approached cautiously, ready to draw their weapons at a moment's notice. One of the men noticed them and introduced himself cheerfully. "Well, hello there, sir and madam. The name's Travelin' Pete." Roderick noticed a sign hanging from the top of the wagon, brandishing the man's namesake, "Travelin' Pete's Fine Wares." The man himself was a rather heavy-set fellow, with meticulously groomed facial hair. He wore checkered suspenders and a peculiar circular glass object over one of his eyes. The 2 other men were armed with rifles and in armor, likely mercenary guards, assumed Roderick. "Oh, don't worry about them," said Pete. "You folks don't look like trouble." "My name is Roderick, and this is Cher. What happened to your wagon?" "Well, we were heading back out onto the road, coming from the trading center just a little ways from here, and the dang wheel fell right off." "Oh, Cher and I were actually just at that trade center ourselves. Couldn't get out of there soon enough." "Oh, yes. In all my years traveling the country, I've never seen anything quite like that. Very disturbing. We were heading back out west, all the way to the ocean, in fact, but now we're just stuck here." "What happened to this girl here? Is she okay?" "Oh, yes. We just had a minor run-in with an Urser, and it broke her leg, but she's fine now. I could probably help with that wagon. Let me take a look." Roderick walked up closer to the wagon and saw that the wheel had slid off, but nothing appeared to be broken. "Must have just had some loose bolts," said Roderick. He positioned the wheel back onto the axle and found the bolts lying on the ground nearby. He tightened them the best he could by hand, but realized this was likely the problem to begin with. "I don't suppose you have a wrench in that wagon?" "No, actually, but I'll be sure to pick one up first thing. Here, take this for your trouble." Pete handed Roderick a few more bottles of water. "Well, thank you. Just be sure to take it slow now." The salesman and his guards went on their way, as did Roderick and Cher. Night was coming fast, however, and they found another cave to hunker down in for the night. Come morning, they promptly resumed their journey, and it wasn't long at all before they could see a village up ahead. It was another walled and gated compound, bearing the same guards walking the walls and mutilated corpses strewn about the perimeter. "There it is," said Cher. "What? You live in one of these places?" "Like I said, that's just how it is down here. It's not so bad. In exchange for some of our crops and labor, they guard our city and protect us from someone coming and killing us all." "Oh, you mean like how they protected you from that whore trader?" "That's different. That's how they get salesmen and slaves for their trading posts, so they just let it happen." Grinding his teeth, Roderick became furious at how terrible this place seemed. They approached the gate, and Cher was immediately recognized by one of the guards. "Ha! Look who's back! Did your little boyfriend here rescue you?" Roderick started fuming. "Leave her alone, you pig." Roderick's comment through gritted teeth was met with immediate hostility. All 5 of the guards at the entrance pointed their rifles to Roderick's head, and the main guard approached him. "What did you say to me?" "I said you're a pig, but maybe I misspoke. I think you're actually more the pig's shit." The guard slammed the stock of his rifle into Roderick's head, knocking him to the ground, while Cher stood motionless, terrified to speak. "Stay down, you little bitch. You don't want any trouble with me. Just give me all your weapons, shut your mouths, and I'll let the 2 of you hobble inside. Sound good?" Roderick unslung his rifle from his shoulder and threw it to his side. Cher also dropped her pistol to the ground. She then limped over to Roderick and extended her hand to help him up. The guards opened the gate, allowing them to enter, and it immediately slammed behind them. Once inside, the 2 of them saw a collection of barely standing wooden huts, meandering dirt pathways carved through unkempt grass, and scores of people dressed in tattered rags, all completely unarmed. Roderick could immediately notice the greenhouse, however, the only building in decent condition, with its bright shining glass panels protecting the crops inside from the rain. Towards the back of the village, Roderick could see some actual houses, full 2-story structures still standing from before the event. "Those are for the nobility," said Cher. "You know, like the mayor and the head guard." Roderick began following Cher as she walked forward along the paths, and the people all around them began staring and muttering. Cher went up to one of the huts and knocked on the loosely attached door. A portly woman answered, her face instantly breaking to tears. She quickly extended her arms and wrapped Cher in a tight embrace. "You're alive! How did you ever make it back here?" Cher stood off to the side, allowing her mother to see Roderick standing behind her. "This man rescued me. I was about to be sold off to the mutants of all things, and this man comes out of nowhere, kills my captor, and runs up to save me." Cher's mother hurried forward to hug Roderick as well. "But your leg! What happened?" "Had a little run-in with an Ursa. Nothing I couldn't handle," bragged Roderick. "Don't worry, though. I got your daughter all taken care of at a trading center." "I don't know how I could possibly begin to thank you for bringing my daughter home. Please, please come inside." The 3 of them all entered the home, but Roderick was a little taken aback. The home consisted of one single room with a dirt floor, a fireplace with a cooking spit, a crude kitchen table with a few chairs, and 3 straw sleeping mats on the floor. Next to one of the sleeping mats, Roderick noticed a pile of books, and he recalled the story Cher had told him about her sister. "Not the time," thought Roderick to himself. In the corner, next to the fireplace, Roderick also noticed a water cooler, filled with clean water and in pristine condition. Noticing him eyeing the water, Cher's mother began speaking. "Life may have gotten pretty rough since the Tandarians took over, but they certainly provide us with plenty of clean water. Here, follow me and I'll take us to get dinner." Roderick was confused as Cher's mother exited the home and started walking back into the town. They approached the largest hut in the middle of town, and all of the villagers were lined up at a window where they were being handed trays of food. "What is going on?" inquired Roderick. "We tend and harvest the crops, and care for and butcher the animals, and the Tandarians provide us with water and cook what we reap into equal meals for everyone. It's not a perfect system, but it's better than starving." Roderick was actually impressed by the ingenuity. He just wished they could be less violent and grotesque about everything. They approached the front of the line and were each given a plate of pork roast, vegetables, and mashed potato to take back to their home. Once back, they all sat down at the table with their meal and grabbed cups of water from the water cooler. "Oh, wow! This meat is so fresh. How is this possible?" "Well, we keep all the livestock secured indoors, and the Tandarians provide us with fresh feed and water to give to them. Like I said, it's not a perfect system, but it has its advantages." As they finished up their meals, all of them let out loud yawns. "Well, maybe we should all start thinking about going off to sleep. Roderick, I guess you could use my sister's bed." "Oh, no, I have my own sleeping bag now. I will use that." Roderick wanted to move past that awkwardness as fast as possible. They all got into their beds and drifted off to sleep. Roderick was jolted awake by the sound of alarms blaring throughout the town and the guards firing their weapons. Everyone in the house ran outside to see what was happening. Over the sirens and gunshots, they could hear the guards and townspeople shouting, "Mutants!" To be continued. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button. Also be sure to like, comment, and share. In the description of this video, you will find links to my logo design and animation, book cover design, and more. Thank you for listening.